can to keep the skies clear, but I don't know. I don't think as soon as word gets up the command that Connery's brought in an air force, there'll be a larger response by Cobalt.
Connery attempted to bring in a Sunder.
Oh my god! Pumpkin search! Call off the server smash! We're finding pumpkins. Whoever can find the most pumpkin... No, that's not happening. No.
Maelstrom, could we get some tracking on that before the end of the alert, please?
The alert's running. Yeah. So we can see. We can just press tab and you can see. Well, let's see if anyone actually gets pumpkins. Lol.
Should that count for or against your outfit?
Oh, that's a good point. We can see that the Connery force is keeping the air, and they're using a good effective with Liberators to pick off the galaxies, but it's hard to see. I don't know if I'm seeing more Reavers. I think Cobalt's got the air control, or will do shortly. Yeah, they've brought in extra reinforcements. They're beginning to clear the skies, but they're buying time, not being able to attack the ground. And because this is a defensive base, it's not neutral, I think they have a Sunder on the inside with the shields are up. Yeah, they do. So they've got a deployed Sunder. That's essentially a better spawn room. It's not going to happen. Cobalt theoretically had a small window of attack on this base. They need to repair their terminals, get some fresh vehicles out, and then they need to work on getting their SU back up. SU would solidify their defense on this base.
Just took Lithcorp Central on the central mountain. That was TRG, and I think this was a fact of Cobalt had too many pans in the fire, and they couldn't deal with everything here. They did manage to come at the last possible second. They're back on the point. And it's going to be interesting to see if Connery can hold this with the Resonade spam and maybe kick them off. And maybe this is an attempt to push for the center. Maybe they decided the north and the south isn't working out for them. Let's go try and push for the center, which has been dead from Connery's perspective all match.
It looks like Cobalt brought their entire air force to the tech plant. They're marking, actually the smoke flares is being marked by Connery force, so they know where the Sunders are near the spawn room for the Connery force knows where the Cobalt Sunders are, and even though the SU generator shields are up, the SU gen is being protected, so that is not going to be up. However, it doesn't matter because the Connery force has got themselves a Sunder. Now, here comes the next point. That Sunder can be easily killed. Oh, nice mines there, picking off the Cobalt Sunder that tried to gate defuse in, as you can see another set.
While all this is going on, Cobalt is seconds away from capturing a Conham garrison and the Augur again. So Connery had managed to get the Augur back.
Double pressure, they're going to get that for free. There's not enough people.
There's not enough people in either one of them. Which means the Biolab will be ready to be taken almost instantly as soon as garrison falls.
Looks like the Biolab's already being fortified by Connery.
Yep, they've decided we've lost it and we're going to spawn into the Biolab. Oh, this is getting kind of painful now. Augur's captured by the NC, so that's just gone through. And there's no response. There's no last minute push, there's no charging. It's just kind of resignment that, we've lost this base, let's fall back. Alright, there we go. Another base falls from Connery to the VS. Ickenham Triage is now under attack instantly. And we'll have to see whether or not they decide to try and push the Biolab. Let's see, Lithcorp Fortress Central is being pushed. Tech Plant, perhaps the capture point is being pushed. We'll come back to there because the shields are up. Aramax was saved briefly, but it looks like there's more numbers for Connery on the point. So they should be able to get the base back. Or start the base cap, I should say. The point has been captured by Cobalt at the Tech Plant. They don't have the same vehicle setup as they had before, but they've applied pressure and they're inside. The SCU, however, has been fully repaired. It looks like the vehicles on the back have been pushed off. Let's have a look. Yeah, so the vehicles have been pushed off. So actually, this is good for Connery, bizarrely, because they are in a better situation than they were last time. The attackers by Cobalt aren't set up, they don't have the Sunder set up, they don't have that vehicle multi-prong set up, and the SU is now repaired, so the Tech Plant should easily be in hands of the Connery force. Aramex...
I wonder what's going on here in the north. Connery is giving Cobalt everything up to a Conham Biolab for free. There is nowhere near enough people to defend Triage Station. There was never enough people to defend Garrison, and I'm trying to figure out where they are. I don't know if they moved to Lithcorp Central, or maybe they panicked to get back to the Tech Plant in time, or something. But
well, it may be a last-ditch effort. The Conham's the only point of entry into that lattice, so they may just be thinking of a reserve force there, while they allocate more forces to the south or the middle.
Thing is, though, it's a Biolab. Biolab can fall in less than something like 2 minutes. And it has an SU generator as well. which means it's going to need to be defended and mass redeployed on.
And Cobalt doesn't have to push it. Cobalt is in the lead right now. They are comfortably in the lead, and they don't have to attack a biolab if they don't want to. So, yes, Connery can move forces around if that's their plan, but so can Cobalt at this point. I don't know what it buys you.
Cobalt is air bombarding the living nut out of 4 Sunders, double repair, double ammo, all anti-air, 8 Walker guns, all firing. It is Walker gun auto repair versus air shotgun, air hammer, and rocket pods. it's quite impressive.
Make it through the deadly little building at the choke point of Lithcorp Central, and the one grenade killed practically an entire platoon in that building. They are slowly making it down, and I don't see a ton of Cobalt air around here. There is plenty to make a life miserable for these Connery guys, but they are managing to make it down to the choke point. We'll see if they can push onto the point.
Sunder Force RMX is cleaned up, and the fact is they still have a slight number advantage, and when you take into consideration Cobalt's air, there's actually significantly more infantry on the ground for Connery at the capture point than Cobalt, but the fact is they have no spawns, they have no Sunders, so natural attrition is just going to kick in, and Cobalt's going to get the point back. I'd be very, very surprised, especially given the nature of it being slightly exposed and the air being able to bombard with air hammers. And we can already see that beginning to happen.
I see a lot of the Connery people using lashers, and I assume that these are people who don't usually main BS because they're using it like an LMG. They're charging in, and that doesn't work so well with the lasher. Maybe with the jackhammer.
Shiny lasers, man! Shiny lasers.
Yeah.
We're gonna head over to Lithcorp.
Yeah, Lithcorp, a minute here. I don't know that Connery can get down to that point. They are just being hammered too hard at all the choke points by a little bit of air down here and some grenades and. Oh, and Cobalt has a Sunder deployed directly on the point. I mean, this is...
Oh yeah, that's the nature of this base. Because of it's weird. The way the no deployment works, it's actually significantly far away from the... Oh, okay, so there's a gal drop. The problem is this gal drop has to kill the Sunder. That is the one objective. Kill the Sunder. And it didn't happen. It's not a deployment Sunder. It's actually a lot easier for one guy to do it, but they didn't. So, there you go. And it's being mega repaired. And the fact is, that's going to give you maxes, that's going to give you unlimited grenades, and it's going to give you instantaneous spawning on the capture point.
There are some...
Oh, the Sunder's down though. Someone must have got some mines, but on 10 seconds to go, it's just too little too late.
The biolab is under contention. I am actually heading to it right now to see what's going on here.
We've lost the facility.
so Yell Chat is telling Connery, bit of smack talk, why don't you just go hunt pumpkins instead?
At the biolab, the generator was primed and the points were all taken, but Connery came back with maxes and looked to be cleaning up everything except for Alpha Point right now. And this is actually the problem. How many people do you leave here? I would think that you could defend a biolab relatively
Well, you can fully save it quickly. But the problem is, unless... The best thing the problem is Connery's surrounded on 2 sides. The Ickenham Triage and Ickenham Garrison, which means... And the forces are split evenly for the attacking force of Cobalt on both sides. So the fact is, Ickenham Biolab is never going to be saved unless you get both points flipping at the Triage and the Garrison. So this base is always going to be theoretically under contention. And you're always going to be watching it extremely closely, more than you have other bases, because of how quickly it falls. It's just a pop sync now that you have to stay here and you have to defend. Now, the NC force of Cobalt might think, it's the biolab, hooray, let's attack with more people. You know, more people, more maxes, and it could work, who knows. They have a slight advantage, but they're not the defenders, but it looks like they want to try. They've got plenty of maxes on B, they've got plenty of guys on A. The thing is, with the biolab, it doesn't have a teleporter room, right? It's kind of like an old style building like Indar. It's a single cap point, kind of spawn room. What I would like to see the Cobalt Force do is, with this number of forces, when they do that fresh push and they have that initial wave of momentum, I'd like to see a capture and contain on the spawn room. You hold the jungle area, you hold the kind of banister kind of area around the SU looking in these kind of main walkways, and then you have a force on the A point and then wide on the A teleporter, so that you watch this kind of tree line there. And then you can just keep a contain up. And there's only 3 exits, theoretically, of the spawn room. And you can watch all of them, then it doesn't matter. You know, you keep them contained, and then you hold the points. Because holding 3 points is actually faster than waiting for the SU generator, then the SU, and then the base itself.
There is a push going on in the southern lane down here. The NC Cobalt are already on Tormir storage yard. They have a very large group down here, and again, I have yet to see a appreciable Connery Air Force, but everywhere I look, there are more Cobalt and they're attacking places than there is Connery. And Connery tends to group everyone together and go save something, whereas Cobalt is obviously doing a very good job of placing their people where they need to in an attack, so that they can get it down and play redeploy side attacking. Absolutely wins you games. If redeploy side wins you games, then redeploy side with attacking definitely wins you games.
Yeah, the air game has not changed since the beginning. Cobalt has a sizable grip on the air game, and Connery's just trying to play guerrilla warfare. They do really well in small engagement, but as soon as that Reaver ball comes around, they have to retreat. They can't make any tangible gains.
So we're just looking at some statistics, and in the beginning, Connery had a slight lead on their Cobalt teams in terms of deaths and kind of stats, and that's flipped. Cobalt is now significantly in the lead in the kills section, almost up to 1,000 kills. So they've basically overtaken, and they have the kind of the kill lead. And in the map timeline, which we just showed a little bit earlier, and we'll show it again, you can see that it was super close until we reached this critical junction just after the halfway point, and then the pressure being applied by Cobalt just begins to ramp up, and there isn't a response by Connery, bar the one base. But then after that, it just collapses again.
I've seen a couple pushes into this Tormir attack here, and none of it has really made it to the point yet. I don't know if Connery doesn't have its forces down here, or if they're waiting, as I was talking about before, to just kind of group up and do one big push, but they seem to not be able to get close to those...
Well, currently it's 4-1 in terms of Reaver Scythe kills. There are 2,000 Reaver kills and only 560 Scythe kills. In terms of weapons, surprise, surprise, what do you think is the top weapon?
The Biolab is ticking down.
Yeah, we're watching the Biolab.
And Tormir storage is ticking down. It feels like Connery is just constantly on the back foot, even though right now it holds 2, really 3 with Tuma's tech plant, really defensible bases that it could be using to kind of move its forces around, and they don't seem to be able to manage to get that to happen.
So the Orion is on 3,200 kills. It's not saving them though. Then comes the Anchor, then comes the anti-vehicle grenade. C4, which I thought would be quite high, is actually somewhat further down. Rocket pods, lots. Over like 706 rocket pod kills. Looks like there's finally been a push coming in by the Connery forces on Tormir storage yard. I can actually talk. They're outnumbered 2-1, so they're committing more forces and they've got the base safe. But for the next 3 minutes, our Aramax chemical is safe. And this attacking force of Cobalt could theoretically go back to Tuma's cargo facility and make a save, although that's a really tough base to kind of take back as an attacker. As a defender when the attackers are set up inside. You have a look at the Biolab in Neckanum, just tell me how that's going.
Yep. I was at the Bastion. That seems to be okay from Connery's perspective. They just can't get him off the sea for right now, but that won't really matter.
Connery counter pushing the Biolab, and we've taken it. They still have some work to do to push Cobalt out.
Yeah, their Cobalt is held up in the powerhouse building. This is how the powerhouse building gets its name, for the generator.
Here's a question for you, right? If the warp gates were flipped, I know that the strats may have been different, but the fact is, or let's say Crux headquarters and the Bastion were flipped, right? With the overpowering air force that currently Cobalt has, say they were attacking Crux headquarters, you've got to say that would give them advantage, because the open plan nature of Crux headquarters. So the Connery force, they've got the advantage at the moment that Bastion is the nature of it is a tower base. Therefore, the air force for Cobalt can't be effective against Connery at the Bastion. You would agree with that, right? Not as effective.
Well, not as effective. Yeah.
Not as effective. But you'd say, well, that seems to give an advantage to the Western Warp Gate. And we're watching the base here going down with 13 seconds to go. Here comes the last infantry coming in on the point, and they make a last-second save. Just infantry. I thought Connery had this base. I really thought they had it locked down, but last push in, mega redeploy by Cobalt, and they make a save. So, as I was alluding to earlier, even if Tuba's cargo facility fell, which I thought it would do, the problem is Arax's Firearms Corp. There is a large outpost in the way, and that is going to be difficult. you know,
The
to make any
reason
progress.
that you go after Tumas Cargo is because it is such an easy, relatively, base to hold as an attacker, because you have that lovely little mezzanine or whatever looking down, and on top of it, it protects your tech plant. You're now using that for a timer protect of the tech plant, which means you can move people out of there and maybe move them down into that southern lane. Econom Biolab was just fully resecured by Connery. They managed to push Cobalt completely out of the powerhouse building.
So you want to hear an interesting stat?
Okay.
There are 2 pumpkins for Cobalt. There are 4 pumpkins for Connery. And our fun police are up to 17 pumpkins. The fun police are collecting all the pumpkins on average.
I think our fun police are going to win this server smash when we change the rules.
Fresh pressure being reapplied by Cobalt on the C point of the Bastion, just making sure that the save of Bastion takes extra long. The Raxicom and Lithcorp can't be messed with, and the fact that so long as we hold on to C, even if you do make a full save, you can't move off until you push us off. And this is an instance where if Connery had an air force, it would be really effective because the C point's exposed and you have to run in the open.
At the Bastion, I don't know that Cobalt is actually trying to take this. They are trying to be a nuisance and protect the lane and protect the entire center mountain area.
Exactly.
They have a really great Sunder location, and they're perfectly content just sitting here at sea.
And this is the thing, because Connery doesn't have an air force, they can't. If they had an air force, they can bombard all these infantry totally in the open, just not giving a care in the world, because they know that there isn't an air force. Oh, okay. Speak of the devil, there's a little bit of air. There's even a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie flying between 4 Reavers, 2 Valkyries. What are we doing? Follow you. Where's this guy going? Following a Valkyrie from Bastion, he's going to Raven's Landing. Is he going to... He's going from the back end of Tumas Cargo? This is interesting. Okay, you flew all this way here, medic. Now what are you going to do? You're going to put down a beacon? You're going to res that heavy assault? No. You're not going to res the heavy assault. You're not going to res that guy right there. You are all that's wrong with this game. Medics that don't res their friends. Oh, there's a lot of world of hate. I hope you die. I hope you die. There you go. Yes. Oh, do you want someone to res you? Oh, well, there's a medic over there. He res his friend. Maybe he will res you. You didn't res your guy. You can get teabagged by his own team. There you go.
I think Farah needs to perhaps go to some therapy over Medicaid. Right?
This is not anything to do. I am a medic primarily by class, and I res everybody, and I even die because I res. I'm a great reser, and when people don't res me and they run over my corpse, anyway, they're back on point. 2 minutes to go. The Connery force, they're holding the upper balcony. No maxes, no real support, no sunderers. I mean, it's going to be tough. If Cobalt, like they've shown throughout the rest of the game, decide to, bring in their redeployment force with maxes, this is going to be painful. But with 2 minutes to go, though, it is narrow. The fact is the Cobalt force has to realise what's going on and respond quickly. Tormar storage yard is going down again.
Justicia, game referee and all call. 30 minutes remaining in the match. 30 minutes remaining now.
Connery needs to pick somewhere to push and make it their offensive now. They have just barely enough left to make a good push, whether it's the middle, whether it's the south. I would suggest the north, but the north has been terrible for them the entire match. So, maybe just for morale's sake, go somewhere else. But you need to pick somewhere, you need to put all your forces in, you need to tell everyone else, look, you have to hold. You have to hold at bases that are really good for holding, and we're going to be spending our population somewhere else to go get territory. This is the time to do it, and if it doesn't happen in the next 10 minutes, it's probably never going to happen.
And we're just continuing to watch the reinforcements streaming at Tumas Cargo facility. They're at the 60-second marker. They've got reinforcements. They've got consumables. You'd think maybe they could pull it off this time. They even have a max. They got... Wait, is that 2 maxes? I think that is the second max. Or he's on the roof, perhaps? I'm looking at the minimap at the moment.
Cobalt
There's
has
a max.
significantly more than 2 maxes.
Oh god, Cobalt has significantly more than 2 maxes. Hello everyone. Knock knock. Pizza delivery! You ordered hacksaws? Yes, hacksaws. Oh, but nice grenades! The fact it's only coming from 1 point. Look at the fresh consumables by the fresh reinforcements. That is crucial. This is what I said earlier. Good use of grenades in C4 on the entry point as a choke point is critical, and they've done that. That's really good from Connery. Now, can they hold it for the next 10 seconds? It looks like they might just finally get themselves a base. No thanks to that medic.
This facility now belongs to the VS.
Right, that's it, base flipped. They finally got Tuma's cargo facility, and realistically, why did they do it? They managed to get some extra reinforcements in, and then when the NC force, even though they had 6 seconds, they could have split into 2 teams. The Cobalt force came in 1 doorway, and they must have got hit by about 5 or 6 anti-vehicle grenades and rockets. Picked them all off.
Cobalt has managed to get this SCU gen down, and the SCU is currently ticking with all of them on the SCU building at Econom Biolab. They don't hold any points, but they're about to blow the SCU at this facility if Connery doesn't spam a whole bunch of grenades in that right now.
And we're also currently looking at Tormor Storage Yard. Give me how many seconds on the Biolab?
The SCU goes down in under 30 seconds.
Okay, we'll go there in a second. 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds for Tormor Storage Yard. In comes the infantry push for the Connery force. Population numbers are... Actually, Connery has more, but they're not in the right position, and base flips. We see your Tuma's cargo facility, and you raise your Tormor Storage Yard. Right, heading over to the Biolab.
Connery saved the SCU in the last... it was down to 3 seconds ticking. So they did manage to grenade spam them off, and they own all the points they need to get the gen back up, but that was very, very dangerous from Connor's perspective. They were 3 seconds away from not being able to defend this.
Look at the population numbers. They had to pull in twice as many of Cobalt's numbers to make that save. So the constant pressure, even if it's 50-50 pressure on the Biolab, forces Connery to come in with extra people and then just, save. We need to pull in people, we need these extra numbers so that we can guarantee we make the save in the few seconds that we have. And that's great for Cobalt and sucks for Connery. Bastion is being outpopped again, 2-1. The forces from Bastion must have been pulled back to go to the Biolab.
Yes, and they now own all 3 points here, although this is a pop sync. I mean, this is the kind of thing where you can let them sit here for another 2-3 minutes and come back and still save it, so...
Cobalt.
Pumpkins are being found at a slow rate, but they are being found.
Cobalt does an excellent job dropping on armor. I've seen them do that a dozen times.
From Galaxies?
Yeah, their Galaxies will just roll right in the middle of a Sunday ball, and in this case, their Southern Air Wing was in a little bit of trouble with a dozen Sky Guards. But again, that drop on top of the Sky Guards ended that.
Cobalt's air wing
whoever's in charge of that force is to be
Cobalt's
commended.
air wing is over Tuma's cargo facility, and they have a small force that they dropped onto the point. I'm going to see this. At least when I can see, it doesn't even look like it's a squad of infantry that's on the point. So we're going to see if Cobalt can hold the push that Connery's going to have to make through open territory to this point with having only a squad maybe on the actual point. It is a long run out in the open from that spawn room at Tuma's cargo facility.
Reaver shooting his own Sunderer to save it from half a squad's worth of light assaults, beautifully, majestically floating over from the air pad on top of it at the Bastion. But ultimately they got their C4 down and they blew it up. It wasn't a deployment Sunderer. But it did look good, and the Reaver was committed to kind of making a save, and he flies away, gets his kills. Just being a nuisance. But they still have the C point at the Bastion, and they're still just being a nuisance. I mean, by holding on to 1 point at the Bastion, alright, maybe now they're losing C, but just holding 1 point, you can make it like 7-8 minutes. You can just stall time. and it looks like the reinforcement numbers from the biolab went to the Bastion, and the biolab is now 55% NC. That's Cobalt. Tuma's cargo facility, they're outnumbered a little bit over 2 to 1, and okay, now the extra numbers are being used at Toromar to guarantee the Toromar capture. In fact, to take Toromar, my bad, sorry. We check Toromar out.
They don't. I'm down here right now. They have Connery VS has 1 Sunder, unless it just died. No, I guess it.
Wow, here comes the numbers. C4 is being used. They're softening up the maxes. A couple of deaths. No max deaths yet, though. It is a killer staircase, though, but this banister is going to prevent easy C4ing. But those light assaults are doing a work. There's 2 staircases. Check those C4s. It's like, please do come up. Too many C4s, though. One goes off, they all go off. They're making a good defense. They're using the nice bunny hopping on the bridge. Look at this guy. It's like, don't stop. Don't sit there and do nothing. That's the worst thing you can do. It gives the defenders time to re-catch their breath and push you back off. However, we go on the other side. Ground floor has been taken by Cobalt. All the consumables had been used by the Connery force to stop the Cobalt team, and even more and more numbers. Oh, wrong map. Has been pushed in. Still 50-50, but
with under 90 seconds on Tuma's cargo, Connery has managed to push inside. They don't have any maxes yet. I don't know if they can get up onto that little mezzanine. And Cobalt is so secure of their victory, they have moved people already onto the tech plant. There's some of their air forces over there taking out guns.
That's awfully confident, isn't it? Well, they've got the upper platform. They don't have the lower platform. It's risky. Old. What's this light assault up to? Oh, he's hiding, and he's dead. Nice Sunder pull into the point. 60 seconds to go. There's no way that the Cobalt force can last this long. We saw how Cobalt wrecked Connery on the point time and time again. Good grenade force, good picking off from this one choke point. The fact is the Cobalt force doesn't need to defend the section here. Well, okay, there's a few guys coming in from Connery in this rear end, and yeah, they kind of get the point. So, GG again for Connery, making a good save. But they're still 59 down to 38, and with 22 minutes to go, they still need to capture a significant number of bases. This is a very much uphill battle for Cobalt. Let's start for Connery against Cobalt.
Connery's only real options here are secure the Bastion and try and take the middle, or just put everybody on Toromir Storage Yard and try and go tick, 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 all those little small 1 cap point bases along the bottom part. It's the only 2 places you're going to be able to really do anything, and the middle is probably the hardest of those because you have to defend Lithcorp Central while you push out to do different points. Cobalt has been incredibly... Cobalt has been very good about defending the pushes, and Connery has had no luck whatsoever in the north at this point. They lost the NC Arsenal even pop fight, and they lost the entire northern lane. It was slow and it was back and forth at a time, but being able to push out of that biolab and getting both of those pieces without losing a 3-minute biolab behind you is going to be a challenge.
It's like the main Cobalt
deployment Sunder, C4 rocket. Is this enough? Can one heavy assault with 2 C4 and a couple of rockets? Depends if he's got a grenade bandolier. Yeah, he does have grenade bandolier. So 4 AV needs, 2 C4 and a bunch of rockets. Is that enough to kill? It looks like it is. It is. Alright, there you go. You can 1-man a deployment Sunder, guys. It just involves going absolutely full retard explosives.
Now there's 1 minute left before Cobalt can do anything in this southern lane down here at Toromir, but they've already moved the fight to Walkhook Watchtower. So instead of just sitting around on their hands,